Welcome to this podcast, your peaceful space to grow, learn, and reflect, one thought at a time. Today's episode is all about the power of good habits, because in the quiet corners of your daily life, there are small choices, tiny actions, little rhythms that shape your entire world. Good habits may seem simple, but they hold deep, life-changing power. They are the quiet architects of your future, the silent creators of your confidence, the invisible steps that build your success. You don't need a grand plan. You just need the right habits and the patience to nurture them. So take a deep breath, get comfortable, and let's begin this gentle journey into understanding and embracing the power of good habits. It starts with something small, a moment in the morning when you decide to pause before reaching for your phone, a glass of water before your coffee, a single page read before the day sweeps you away. Tiny, ordinary, almost invisible. But that's where the magic lies. Because a habit is not about what you do once. It's about what you do repeatedly. And repetition is how we rewrite who we are. You see, your brain loves patterns. It craves rhythm. It wants to make things easier by creating shortcuts. And those shortcuts, those automatic behaviors, that's what we call habits. So if you can place good things in those shortcuts, little acts of care, intention, and growth, you begin to change your life without even noticing it. You wake up one day feeling clearer, more confident, less overwhelmed. And it's not because you changed everything overnight. It's because you kept showing up for the small things. Good habits aren't glamorous. They're not dramatic. They're often invisible to others. But they are the roots, the foundation, the quiet scaffolding that holds your life together. Every strong tree began with an invisible root system underground. And every successful person you admire has a garden of good habits growing beneath their daily routine. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's habit. Brushing your teeth, drinking water, moving your body, being kind to yourself, choosing gratitude even when it's hard. Each act may feel small, but it tells your brain, I care about this life I'm building. Let's go deeper. A good habit begins with a small decision, one that you repeat often enough that it becomes second nature. Think of it like this: every time you perform a habit, you are casting a vote for the person you want to become. One push-up, that's a vote for strength. One kind word to yourself, that's a vote for self-compassion. 1 minute of silence instead of stress scrolling, that's a vote for mindfulness. You're not the sum of your intentions, you are the sum of your repetitions. This is why good habits are so powerful, they create identity. You no longer just try to be healthy, you are someone who lives healthily. You don't try to be disciplined, you are a disciplined person. And the beauty is you don't need motivation every day, you just need structure, because motivation comes and goes. It's a feeling, it's unreliable. But structure habits, those are stable. They show up even when you don't feel like it. Let's take something as simple as waking up early. It might start messy, you might snooze the alarm 10 times the first week. But if you just keep setting the alarm, if you keep trying, keep adjusting, you're sending your brain a message. This matters, I am willing to get better. Eventually, you don't just wake up earlier, you start becoming the kind of person who protects their morning. You stretch, you breathe, you journal, you sit in quiet, maybe sip something warm. This becomes your ritual, and this ritual becomes your power. Good habits give you back your time. They reduce decision fatigue. They free your mind from chaos. Because you've already decided, brush my teeth, I read 10 pages, I walk after dinner, I don't check my phone before bed. And that clarity, that's energy you save for more important things. Habits simplify your life so you can focus on what really matters. And remember, every habit, even the smallest one, has a ripple effect. Drinking a glass of water in the morning may make you feel more refreshed. That might lead to better food choices. That might lead to higher energy, which might lead to better focus, which might mean you finish your work earlier and enjoy your evening. All from one glass of water. It's not about intensity, it's about consistency. You don't have to do everything, you just have to do something and do it again tomorrow. This is how change happens, not in one day, but in 1,000 tiny ways. So if there's something you've been wanting to change, something in your routine, your mindset, your health, start small. Start today. You don't need a plan for the next 6 months. You need a decision for the next 6 minutes. What can you do right now that future you will thank you for? What small step can you repeat, not perfectly, just consistently? Because habits are not about being flawless. They're about being faithful. You keep showing up, you keep practicing, you keep trying. And over time, that practice becomes identity. You stop forcing good habits, you start living them. You brush your teeth not because you have to, but because it's part of who you are. You move your body not to punish it, but to care for it. You speak kindly to yourself not because someone told you to, but because you've learned that kindness grows more than criticism ever could. These are not tasks. These are truths you've built one small action at a time. And it all begins with a choice to honor the little things, to stay consistent even when no one is watching. That's the real power of good habits. They quietly change you into the best version of yourself. Every time you do something small that aligns with your better self, you're casting a vote. A vote for the kind of person you want to be. And no, one small habit won't change your life overnight, but 10,000 of them will. Imagine brushing your teeth every day for 10 years. You wouldn't expect a dramatic difference in a week. But look at the long-term outcome: healthy teeth, a confident smile, no constant pain or emergency dental visits. The same goes for writing, for walking, for saving $1, for eating one healthy meal. You build a life in layers, you shape your future in strokes, quiet, gentle, steady. That's the beauty of good habits. They build character without asking for attention. They make your life smoother, your mind clearer, and your heart lighter. And here's another thing: good habits build resilience. When life gets chaotic, your habits become your anchor. You don't need to feel motivated. You don't need to feel inspired. You just do what you've trained yourself to do. You journal, you stretch, you breathe. You keep showing up even when your mood doesn't match the moment. That's not being fake, that's being faithful. And the most powerful people are the ones who are faithful to their better selves even when no one is watching. You don't need the perfect routine. You just need a few habits that ground you. It might be a glass of water first thing in the morning. It might be going outside for 10 minutes. It might be saying no when you used to say yes. These small actions tell your nervous system, you're safe, you're in control, you're loved. Because habits aren't just about productivity, they're about peace. They are a way of taking care of your future self one decision at a time. And that's love too. You see, the way we build our days is the way we build our lives. If you want a life that feels aligned, peaceful and purposeful, you have to start with the day in front of you. Not the dream 10 years away, not the goal on your vision board, just today. Because good habits turn ordinary days into extraordinary lives. And here's the secret most people don't realize. Habits are a form of hope. Every time you show up for a habit, you're believing in something bigger. You're saying, my life can be better than it was yesterday, I can change, I can grow. That's not naive, that's powerful. It takes courage to believe that small actions matter. It takes strength to keep choosing what's good over what's easy. And every time you do, you create momentum. You create evidence, you create trust with yourself. That's what this journey is really about. Learning to trust yourself again. And trust is built in the same way habits are: slowly, consistently, lovingly. So don't wait for motivation. Start with a habit. Start with one thing that reminds you, I'm becoming who I was meant to be. Because the power of good habits isn't just in what they do. It's in who they help you become. And once you begin becoming that person, once you feel the shift inside, you'll notice something beautiful. You'll start to feel proud, not for any big achievement, but because you kept a promise to yourself. You showed up, you followed through. You proved to yourself that you're someone who tries even when it's hard, even when no one's watching. That quiet pride, that's the foundation of confidence. Real confidence doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being consistent, from doing what you said you'd do. And when your days are shaped by habits you've chosen with care, your life begins to align with your values. You feel more like you, the you've always wanted to be. Because good habits aren't just tasks. They're tiny declarations of identity. When you journal every night, you're saying, I'm reflective. When you go for a walk, you're saying, I care about my body. When you read, you're saying, I value learning. With every repetition, you reinforce who you are and who you're becoming. And over time, that becomes unshakable. Even when life throws chaos your way, even when you're hurt, tired, or uncertain, your habits hold you. They remind you, this is who I am. I don't need to think twice, I show up anyway. That's why the strongest people often have the simplest routines. They've removed the drama, they've removed the decision fatigue. They've built systems to protect what matters most. So they have more energy to give to what's meaningful: relationships, growth, peace. And the beautiful thing is, you can start this today. You don't need to overhaul your life. You don't need to wake up at 5 a.m., drink green juice, write a novel, and do yoga before breakfast. Just pick one habit, one simple, meaningful thing, and do it. Then do it again tomorrow, and again, the next day. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be yours. That's the key. Because the most powerful habits are the ones that feel true to you. The ones that match your values, your dreams, your identity. You're not building someone else's life, you're building yours. And that starts with understanding what matters most to you and choosing small actions that honor that truth. Do you value calm? Build habits that bring peace. Do you crave growth? Build habits that stretch you. Do you long for connection? Build habits that open space for love. Whatever it is, make it sacred. Make it simple, make it part of your rhythm. Because once it becomes part of your rhythm, it becomes part of your reality. And here's something else to remember. Your habits don't have to look impressive to be important. Waking up and making your bed, that's order. Drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning, that's nourishment. Taking 5 minutes to breathe before a busy day, that's awareness. These little acts don't seem world-changing in the moment, but over time, they become the very structure of a meaningful life. Because how you do the small things is how you do everything. Good habits are how you teach yourself that your life is worth showing up for. That you're worth the effort, the time, the care. They're quiet acts of self-respect. And when you string them together, day after day, something magical begins to happen. You start to trust yourself again. You don't second-guess every decision. You don't spiral into guilt or shame when you miss a step. You simply return to your rhythm because it's yours, and that rhythm becomes a sanctuary. You don't need the chaos anymore. You don't need the pressure. You've found peace in the ordinary. And that is where true transformation begins. Not in the dramatic makeover, but in the gentle, consistent, loving steps you take every single day. Because habits aren't about force. They're about flow. They work best when they feel natural, like something your soul is gently drawn toward. That's why it's okay to adjust. It's okay to change. It's okay to experiment. You're not locked into any habit. You are free to evolve. Because the goal isn't to be rigid. The goal is to be rooted. Rooted in values, rooted in purpose, rooted in care. And habits help you stay grounded even as the world moves around you. They give you a place to return to. A sense of direction. A compass. And when you feel lost, when things feel heavy, when nothing makes sense, a single habit can be your way back. Your way back to peace, your way back to progress, your way back to yourself. Sometimes we think of habits as things we have to do, like chores, but when you reframe them, when you see them as gifts you give to yourself, everything changes. Your morning walk isn't a task. It's a moment of freedom, of breath, of sunlight on your skin. Your nightly reading isn't an obligation. It's a doorway to another world, a pause from the noise. Your daily journaling isn't something on a checklist. It's a conversation with your own heart. When you approach your habits with love instead of pressure, they stop being heavy and they start becoming healing. You don't have to force discipline. You can nurture it gently the way you tend a small garden. One seed, one drop of water, one ray of light. And slowly, sometimes invisibly, growth happens. Because that's the thing with habits. They often bloom in silence. You may not see the difference today or tomorrow, but one day you'll pause and realize you don't react the way you used to. You don't avoid the things you once feared. You don't feel so out of control anymore. You feel steady, calm, grounded. And that's not an accident, that's your habits at work. They've been sculpting your mind, strengthening your spirit, and shaping your future quietly, patiently, powerfully. Even when you didn't feel like they were working. Even when you doubted yourself. Even when it felt like nothing was changing. That's the magic of consistency. It turns invisible effort into visible change. So don't give up just because you can't see results yet. Every repetition is a vote. Every choice is a step. Every habit is a seed. And those seeds are growing. Keep watering them. Keep trusting the process. Because over time, your habits will create something beautiful. Not just on the outside, but deep within. A life that feels like peace. A life that feels like you. Now I want to share something important. The idea that habits don't have to be perfect to be powerful. It's easy to get caught up in the mindset of all or nothing. Either I do my habit perfectly every day or I failed completely. But that kind of thinking can actually hold us back. The truth is, good habits are about progress, not perfection. Missing a day or two or even a week doesn't erase the positive impact of the habits you've built. What matters most is getting back to your routine when you can. That gentle return without judgment or frustration is where resilience lies. And resilience is the backbone of every successful habit. It's the quiet strength that whispers, I'll try again tomorrow. I don't have to be perfect to move forward. Every small step counts. So if you miss your morning meditation, don't beat yourself up. If you forget to drink water, just take the next sip. If you skip your workout, remind yourself you're human and you'll try again. Habits grow best when they're nurtured with kindness. When you treat yourself like a friend rather than a taskmaster. This kindness makes the habit sustainable. It creates space for learning, adjusting, and evolving. Because your life changes, your energy changes, and your needs change. And your habits should too. Sometimes you'll need to simplify them. Sometimes you'll need to change them completely. And that's okay. Your habits are your tools, not your chains. They exist to support you, not to stress you out. And when you find this balance between discipline and compassion, you unlock the real power of habits. They become a source of joy, not a source of pressure. And from that place of joy, everything becomes possible. Thank you for spending this time with me today, exploring the quiet, powerful force of good habits. Remember, change doesn't have to be loud or dramatic. It often happens in the small, steady steps we take every day, steps that shape not just what we do, but who we are. Be gentle with yourself, celebrate every small victory, and trust that with patience and kindness, your habits will grow into the life you truly want to live. I hope this conversation has inspired you to see your habits not as chores, but as acts of self-love and strength. Until next time, take care of yourself one habit, one moment, one breath at a time. Thank you for listening.